What's good, y'all? My name is Open Book. This is my partner,
Hey guys, this is Hearth. Welcome back to Truspace.
and this is your weekly horoscope. So let's get into the energies that we're going to be hit with this week and how we can stay above the waters. So looking at Monday, March 13th, we have the moon in Sagittarius making a square with Saturn in Pisces. How do you think this is going to hit?
So it's gonna be interesting. So as you're in the emotional energy of being broad and flexible with your visions and imagination and your experiences about God, spirituality, understanding based upon how what you decide to transform when the moon was in Scorpio. So if you had a good transformation, you came up with a broader understanding about yourself, or like whatever area of your life you have Sagittarius in, you could be more optimistic, you could become more faithful and things along this line. But the square with Saturn right now is making you face the some learning opportunities that's dealing with all these restrictions and boundaries that right now is going to be created through your dreams, illusions, and all these subconscious influence that's going to be pushed in the world. But now, while the moon in Sagittarius is putting you in the energy to express your own personal belief, your own personal understandings and things, it might be hard, especially with Saturn creating all these restrictions with what makes sense about what's spiritual and what's like la la land and things like that. But depending upon if you had a good transformation when the moon was in Scorpio, because you had that trine with Saturn and Pisces, allowing you to dive deeper, then you'll be able to, when the moon is in Sagittarius, to express the proper understanding about your experience, a broad understanding that fits with Saturn and Pisces.
100%. If you look at the relationship even between the moon and Saturn, the Saturn has expectations for the moon. Saturn looks at the moon; it's the moon's daughter, basically, or Saturn. The moon is Saturn's daughter. There's even thought that says that the moon was once one of Saturn's moon, or that Earth was one of Saturn's moons, or something like that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but either way, our moon would have came if our origin was from Saturn, and so would have our moon. But there being a connection, like Saturn, in its controlling managerial way, gave Earth the moon, or put the moon with Earth in terms of balance, for the moon to serve a purpose. So Saturn has expectations for the moon to be a receiver, to be a balancer, to balance the waters within this planet that's in the solar system, to help Earth with its rotation, so that the whole solar system rotation stays in a orderly fashion. So Saturn has expectations for the moon. So when it's coming to a square, it might feel like some responsibilities or expectations that the external world has for you, and how, especially because it's in Pisces, how they want you to feel. You may start feeling that pressure, but your emotions may be more broader than that, or you may be seeing all of the multiple different expressions that your emotions can go into with the same feelings and emotions, but maybe your responsibilities want things to look a certain way. So it's up to you, or it's this challenge to learn how to present your emotions in a different way, or in a broad way where you can see the meaning and reasoning in it, and it can satisfy the responsibilities that you have. Don't want things to look that way, and the best way to do that is to broaden your emotions, to try and really see the meaning and reasoning behind how you feel. And then when you do that, when you understand the meaning behind how you feel, what you're trying to express, you can break it down in any different situation. You can break it down like you're baking a cake, and somehow you describing baking a cake explain your psychological trouble, or the reason, or your feelings and emotions and state of being. So it's a worthy challenge to have.
Mm-hmm.
And then the moon is also trining Jupiter and Chiron in Aries. How do you think this adds to the energy?
So as you're emotionally feeling broad, spiritual, and feel like you have a high understanding of things, this allow you to create opportunity for what you're trying to expand in and what you're trying to heal in terms of where your wound is, all dealing with your individuality and this thing you want to give birth to and be passionate and aggressive about. The moon in Sagittarius could bring a broader understanding on how to go about it, since Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and based upon your entire emotional journey since the new moon in Pisces, what did you decide to dream about, and right now we had the full moon in Virgo, what did you collect, what did you harvest, are you going to be able to chase after what you've been dreaming and putting meaning and reasoning to. So the moon in Sagittarius could give you right now the attribute, the high understanding on how you could do it better, but sometimes you could go too far and take too much risk here, because Jupiter is fat, and in Aries like to take risk, so you might take big risk that might lead to too over severe damages that Carian is not ready. So you gotta measure your risk here and not over inflate yourself, especially with Sagittarius. Look what happened with people like Andrew Tate. A lot of time they bring a broader understanding, but it's kind of very inflated. When we poke behind it, there's nothing really like. Could we really live in a civilization based on Andrew Tate understanding?
You really couldn't.
Like for yeah. So it's like it looks good. It looks swagger. It looks beautiful. It looks like but like does
life.
It really work?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it is
exactly.
inflated. It's
So-
not as practical. It's not as that Saturn principle. It's not taking that into account.
So we gotta be careful with the opportunities that is being presented with all this fire element, all these opportunities to burn through reality and be passionate and aggressive. While Saturn, we're having a square to Saturn and Pisces, showing us how far to go and not to go, and us learning how these influences is being pushed through us, and us understanding more through our own experience.
Exactly. It's like developing faith and belief. With all the Sagittarius, Pisces, and Jupiter connections on Monday, it's really going to be a test of faith and belief on Monday, where reality is going to be testing your belief systems and how you give faith. And but there's going to be help with that Jupiter and Chiron, because we know that we're supposed to be giving faith to ourselves. We know that we're supposed to be on these solar missions and expanding who we think of as ourselves. So as the moon's going in Sagittarius, showing us the multiple perspectives of how we feel, or giving us the emotional urge to see the meaning and reasoning behind our emotions, there can be a lot of meaning that it gets drawn out of a day like this, where the moon may even put you on, say maybe Jupiter and Aries, maybe you're expanding an aspect of yourself that is more like what Harith was saying, the fat aspects, the overzealous ones, and maybe you're getting a little bit selfish. Hopefully the moon in Sagittarius would peep you into the feelings and emotions that you're starting to develop, and the possibilities that could come from there, and you get a whiff of that overexalted mind, that overindulgence, and maybe bring it in and found more positive ways that you can utilize that. So be careful of that. Abundance can be perfect once it's shared, once there's an avenue for it. But otherwise it just turns into inflammation, it turns into access, it turns into leftover waste that can't really even be used at a certain point. But yeah. And then we have the Sun in Pisces squaring Mars in Gemini. How do you think this is going to affect us?
So as we're paying attention to and becoming more aware of about our dreams, illusion, and how can we be creative on taking action on these things, we have to go through the necessary learning opportunity on how to take action, communicating about these dreams and illusions and imagination that we're paying attention to. We gotta take action on them and communicate about them, analyze them, and make sense about them. Mars in Gemini is giving us this energy to really be passionate, to develop like a word, like a form, something that could be looked at that makes sense in reality, that could be interpreted properly. Because the Sun in Pisces, we could become aware of very broad things that don't make sense, very ungrounded, but we want to bring them into reality, and the square is the challenge for us to take our awareness and bring it together with our action.
Those are both the driving forces, the driving principles, the Sun and Mars. So it may feel like two driving forces in your life, You know, what you're paying attention to and what you're really passionate about may come at an intersect. But a lot of times people, it's like what Eric was saying, you know, you may feel like you have to sacrifice, that there's not enough room in your mind. But when you're dealing with mutable signs, the major key is adaptability. So that is the lesson that has to be learned here. How can you adapt your message? How can you adapt your dreams and subconscious mind in ways that can allow for better communication with your passions and desires, and make way? You know, what are the ways that you can talk about these things, if you get what I mean, especially if you're passionate about having a conversation, passionate about analyzing and breaking things down, you taking on the challenge to analyze and break down your subconscious dreams, or maybe it's not even just your subconscious dreams and your desires, but an influence that is hitting you, or an imagination that you are being exposed to. You analyzing it, it may start feeling like a headache, but sit with it. That's like a riddle. That's like the levels in Uncharted or some shit like that. Or when you get hit with the riddle in a video game, and there's all of the symbolism and there's patterns and stuff like that. And when you first get into it, it's hard. You don't understand what any of these things mean. But after you start analyzing, you start recognizing the symbols. You start recognizing that this symbol on this block reacts this particular way. And then eventually, over time, you may have to clock hours on it. You'll be able to solve the riddle and progress. But when you're doing this in real life, there's real advancement now. Now it's not a video game. Now you don't go to the next level, but you go to the next level of life once you're able to figure out certain symbols. A lot of people know that they have certain traumas, or that they're hiding certain things about themselves, but they don't sit down and, you know, truly taste it in their mouth to really see what it means. You know, a lot of people know that they may have mommy issues or that they may have daddy issues, but nobody really sits down to try and unpack those things and understand them. But once you do, you go to the next level where you're not even influenced by that factor anymore, because you had broke down and compartmentalized it, and it may take a couple of years to do that. So really don't run away from that challenge, even when you're forced to analyze something that seems so abstract. Take a go at it. Take a go at it. You may find it rewarding in the end. What about Venus and Aries sextiling Mars and Gemini?
So what we love, appreciate, like to indulge in, compromise and relate in is all right now dealing with what we're passionate, desiring. Venus in Aries is quite aggressive about us putting our love matter first and trying to relate that, and that allowing us to see opportunity on how it could be presented with Mars in Gemini. Mars in Gemini is allowing us to be more passionate, aggressive about communication. So if we have the right love matters, the right desires about what we want to give birth to, Mars in Gemini could help us to communicate about it and bring people to it and help transport it. That's what Gemini deal with, and not allows us to sit there, since Venus in Aries could burn through and not be able to sustain itself on itself. That's why Gemini is necessary there, to allow to see the opportunity.
Exactly, like Venus in Aries, especially the way it burns through things, and with that desire to initiate things, it may try something, and at first glance it seems like it doesn't work, or it may not present value. But that Mars in Gemini might give that whisper, hey, what if you did it this way, or what if you just spinned it around and did a 180? You know, just to add to the curious mind. Add to the analyzing and seeing the different ways that you can exert your energy on things. You may find that the more you go and follow that curiosity, the more that you find that you could. This is really fuck around and find out energy, where you can learn a lot by fucking around, by being bold, by making those bold moves.
But also here, Venus could give Mars and Gemini direction, since Mars and Gemini could be kind of useless, lost, and not have a direction. But Mars could love the direction that Venus have provided. If you could actually put Venus in the right direction and sustain that by what Mars is doing in Gemini.
I think Gemini loves Aries because Aries is about it. So Gemini's just sitting there coming up with ideas, be like, what if you did this? And then Aries is like, all right, don't know, I'm gonna go and do it. He's like, well, but what if you did it like that? All right, don't know, I'm gonna go do it like that. And they kind of feed off of each other like that. But yeah, that's how Monday's looking. So definitely a very introspective day where mutable energy is all over the place. So it's more about adaptability and versatility. And since the moon is in Sagittarius, really try and find the meaning of the higher meaning of the way that you feel about your dreams and illusions. And this can lead you to the best place to channel the right energies on Monday. Looking at Tuesday, we have the moon in late Sag squaring Neptune, Mercury, and the sun in Pisces. So how do you think this energy is going to hit?
So this is going to be very intense and very unstable. So as you're obviously emotionally reacting to your broad experiences and the meaning and reasoning that he's trying to find based upon what happened to you in when the moon was in Scorpio. Now you have to go through the learning opportunity with Neptune, Mercury, and the Sun all in Pisces. And I feel like the square with Saturn and Pisces was setting you up to prepare for this right now, because right now you have to face the deeper aspect of your subconscious mind, what you've been thinking, communicating, analyzing about when it comes to your dreams and illusions so far, and what you've been paying attention to and taking action and trying to be creative about when it comes to your dreams and illusion. But right now you have to go through the learning opportunity, how to integrate your experiences that you went through so far through this entire Pisces season and bring it into where you want to see yourself. And right now the moon is Sagittarius is where you are currently, how far you understand things. But the square is showing you the learning opportunity that you need to go through to understand where you need to go, the image you have there in your subconscious mind. The moon is Sagittarius, you being there, but the Neptune, Mercury, Sun, and Pisces is where you want to be.
And I can see a square situation that may come up is the moon in Sag may cause a lot of restlessness. I'm a Sag moon, my goddamn self, so I can speak on that. But a restlessness in certain types of emotion, especially when you have like a moral system or you have like a vision of how you want things to be. You can get restless with the feelings and wanting to feel that, wanting that to be manifest, wanting that to be what you experience already, which is good. But you may get more into the wanting and experience instead of channeling that experience to you. And this is maybe part of that square where Neptune and Mercury and the Sun is trying to build the state of being and the feeling of what your dreams will feel like. So you pushing out restless energy of wanting it now, or you restless energy of you wanting it, it could prevent you from entering into the state of being of being in that state of being and living in that reality, and that's what's actually going to draw that reality towards you. So you may have that challenge where you're drawn into feeling restless, where you're drawn into wanting to move too quick, to extract a little bit too much meaning of something a little bit too quick, instead of letting the meaning come naturally, instead of you facilitating and really tasting in your mouth and thinking, what does it feel like, what does it look like before you want the experience. If you get what I mean. And then what about Mars and Gemini being opposite to the moon? How does this add to the energy?
So this obviously forcing you with all this energy in La La Land while you're trying to stabilize yourself there emotionally. You're forced obviously to take passions and be passionate and aggressive about your communicating and analyzing. But it's gonna be hard for you to integrate your broader spiritual experiences so far, since you have to more learning opportunities to go through with what Neptune, Mercury, and the Sun and Pisces still want to provide for you, as you're emotionally feeling restless, like CZ is saying. So at the opposition to Mars and Gemini, it might bring the aggressive communication messages that it might make you act out but you may not have the full broad understanding to go about it. So you have to be careful here and kind of learn how to integrate what you learned so far through this cycle on how you take with Mars and Gemini, so you could know how to take proper actions. You could take actions with wisdom, much more broader understanding. So it just does not be about information, logic, what just you heard, but about a higher understanding and meaning and reasoning.
100%. This energy reminds me of certain things like, like just even victim energy, like whether it be like even like black people talking about slavery and their history and stuff like that reminds me of, say, Sag energy, where what you're saying is right and you're speaking based off of your own experience and the broad scope of your experience. But Pisces goes a little bit broader. Pisces is after you go through that experience and you lived through that, what is the ideal way? Let's look at all of those experiences and not be victim to those experiences and the mentalities that we went over there. What's the ideal way? How can we transform all of those morals and those feelings that we got? And what is the ideal way we can envision of how we want them to be in the future? A lot of us don't even go to that point. We wait till we see a larger picture than we've seen before, and then we're like, no, that's it. That's the all-encompassing thing. But sometimes there's more information. And this is what will lead someone to start arguing things based off of a certain mindset. But when you sit behind and really take in the feelings of what had happened, your experiences, and then allow yourself to visualize the subconscious energy that played out behind it in the ideal way that situation could have played out, and you start realizing that how you would act, your demeanor starts changing, and you don't act as a victim anymore, and you hold less on the experience that you had went through and more on the lessons that had came from it, the feelings and emotions, the connections that had come from it. You kind of forget about the experience because it's not about the experience. That's a big thing that we need to remember for Tuesday, that sometimes it's bigger than just that experience. Sometimes there's a bigger picture than the broad and picture that we just see right there. We don't sit down and wait enough for more information to come start revealing itself. And knowing that in itself might help tame that restlessness Sag has, because Sag just wants the truth. And I understand that restlessness, but how do you go about what's the best way to go about that truth? Serve that knowledge, serve that wisdom, and your restlessness might be tamed and obey, or wait for the opportunity it has to look at that truth.
I feel like Sagittarius, they want to sponsor the truth, and they want to be the one who presented in a way. Because I remember how it plays out through, like, example, Jay-Z in the music industry. He took a lot of people ideas and like it became a remix of all these people together, which is obviously brought him to a broader level than everybody. But this is why everybody looked up as kind of fake, phony, which is this is where gurus, philosophers gotta be careful where they gotta draw the line, where their understanding is based upon their experience and where the entire collective is. Because Spicy, like CJ was saying, is a whole different realm of reality. And Tuesday is gonna be a very shaky day, so you better have a good belief, moral system to stand on, especially as we head to the moon in Capricorn, because this belief, this broad experience, this meaning and reasoning gotta make sense. It gotta make sense for a business and status later on.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you may be so confused, man, if you don't have a level of sensitivity to look at your past experience and how you feel about your experiences, and a way to put them in a positive position for everybody. You won't be able to really understand what's going on. There's high level integration that's happening on Tuesday. High level. But yeah, Tuesday's looking hectic, very confusing. Looking at Wednesday, we have the moon entering Capricorn, trining the north node in Taurus. How do you think this is going to affect us?
So now you're gonna be in the emotionally initiating, focus on initiating business status, practicality, what makes sense. But whatever you're gonna initiate based upon your status and how you want to be seen in the world is based upon the broad understanding you achieved when the moon was in Sagittarius. So if you had a good meaning and reasoning to you that you achieved, then you can have something to stand on for your business and status. A good business, a good company, a good country always stood with a good moral like system, a good religious understanding. But any country that took the Sagittarius part out, just kept the Capricorn part, became what you call, I guess, capitalistic in a sense. It really throw morality out of the picture. So when the moon in Capricorn right here, you're gonna be focused on your business, your status. So if you have the proper understanding about your experiences, so now you can go about your business and status. And this right now allowing you to see the opportunity, great opportunity with the North Node in Taurus, where we need to be, how we want to achieve a spiritual path through our own form of security and safety, what we feel safety and secure about. But the moon in Capricorn is giving us the business mindset to go about it and achieve it. The North Node in Taurus is just about providing like the cup or the sense of loyalty for this value we want to go after, and then our emotion is gonna get dried up to take that emotional business stance to go about it. But that's if we did like if we want something in the North Node in Taurus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get what you mean. Um, it seems like it's funny when you said drier. It does make me think. You know how like there's some wine flavors where they talk about like dryness and there's different aspects that you can use to measure alcohol. Kind of reminded me like a highly concentrated alcohol in a cup or something like that with Capricorn. But yeah, just like what you were saying, like coming from Sagittarius, like without having a bunch of experience and knowledge based off of the experiences that you went through, especially after you go through higher education and go through experience and develop a moral system, a level of what you want to experience, you start building structures in place and a reputation for yourself so you can start facilitating those type of experiences to start funneling them to come to you. And now you don't need to go and make the same mistakes that you had made before emotionally because you went and learned and gained wisdoms from them. So you can now be conservative from a lot of places where you did previously put your emotions because you know the better places to put your emotions, the more practical, the more productive places to put your emotions. So you may feel like your emotions are drying up a little bit, but know that that is you being conservative with your emotions so that you can use them in a more efficient manner. That if your feelings and emotions start drying up for something across these couple of days, maybe you should start considering maybe it's not as important in your life. Maybe it's not as much of a priority as you had thought it was, since the moon being in Capricorn dried up your emotions for that. So maybe there's something else that is more of your priority, something that makes you feel more secure. If you were to give your energy to that, make you feel like you are more within your purpose. And I can see that energy, kind of finding your purpose. With Capricorn, Moon in Capricorn trining North Node in Taurus, it's reconserving your emotional energy and trying to direct it towards your purpose, which is aligned with what will make you stable in this world. What about the sextile the Moon in Capricorn is making to Saturn and Pisces?
So right now, as you're emotionally focus on initiating your business and status and drying up how you feel so you could become strong enough to move forward for your North Node path in Taurus. You're seeing an opportunity based upon if Saturn and Pisces, Saturn right now in Pisces is bringing their reality and the restrictions and boundaries on how we can go about our dreams and illusion. But right now, if you've been doing the work and during Pisces season, and while Neptune was going through Pisces, right now becoming aware of your dreams and illusion, thinking about your dreams and illusion with Mercury and Pisces, you could right now you could go through Saturn and Pisces in an easier way. There's not that much restrictions and boundaries for you to face when it comes to Saturn and Pisces. You actually know your way to go about it. If anything, you actually like it because it's providing you the energy to actually ground your dreams and illusion, because you know how to go about your these restrictions and boundaries, while other people who may not become aware of your dreams and illusion, now Saturn's gonna shut down all these dreams and illusion and not allow people to go after it. And the moon in Capricorn is putting you in the emotional state to capitalize based on you solidifying your understanding what you're dreaming and or having an illusion about, because Saturn rules Capricorn and it enjoys that sense of stability that you could create for yourself in that realm that's very unstable itself, which will inspire your emotion to initiate the necessary aggression that's stable, not like Aries is explosive, unstable. All the cardinal signs they cannot sustain their energy, but I feel like Capricorn could sustain his initiation because it's ruled by Saturn. So all the other cardinal signs will get way tired way much more quicker.
Interesting. That's true. Whereas, say a Capricorn may stick with say they start a business, they may stick with it to the end to make it start. Where an Aries might get bored and start a new business, or try something else, or have a new career, and shit like that. A whole new career path. Oh, as Capricorn is still trying to get that same one off. So I see that for sure. And it's kind of like double teaming, or it's like the perfect energy to get serious about our dreams and our higher ideals. Because the moon in Capricorn, if our emotions aren't as scattered into, all of these other unnecessary places, making us feel emotionally responsible for other things, then if we're like that, well, those feelings are letting us know where our emotions have gone awry and where we need to take them from so we can replenish ourselves. But if you don't have them all over the place and don't feel those responsibilities, you're going to feel a little bit more emotional energy at your disposal to use in an efficient manner. Saturn being in Pisces is giving that bridge, a practical bridge for your emotional energy to really be productive in building your dreams and illusions, and not get lost in the Pisces energies of different imaginations and different influences. The moon right now is looking for stability and practicality, and so is Saturn is looking at within our dreams. So it can really help us put two and two together. It can really help us align our emotional states of being and how we feel and how we want to feel with what we're doing in the world and where our efforts lie. This could be a real realignment to putting us on the right track, putting our emotions in towards the right material things so that we manifest the type of stability that we really want. What about Moon in Capricorn squaring Chiron and Jupiter in Aries?
So obviously we're gonna have to go through also the learning opportunity or tension with what we want to expand, extract knowledge and wisdom in, but also Carrion where we're wounded and where we lack maybe self-confidence in, all dealing with Aries, what we're trying to give birth to and what we're trying to really push into reality. So if that does not align with Moon in Capricorn, our business and status, and we're trying to expand, especially with, like I said, with Jupiter here, it could be fat and you could take risk on things that could lead to things that will not lead to a good business and status. Your Moon in Capricorn, it could lead to self-destruction. That's the bad aspect when between Aries and Capricorn. The good aspect will be like you paying attention to the right passion and desire that begins that status and business, that begins everything, and that lead to the cascade where you could eventually stand on something. But it gotta be given birth to and sustained, and you're gonna be willing to go through it and not give it up and things along this line.
Has to have your faith. Yeah, you really have to believe in it. With Jupiter being there.
Because it can be hard because Jupiter's will be conjuncting Carrion. So as you're trying to expand it, it's like, I don't know, can I expand it? And then, but it's gonna be a good because you're developing the faith on how to go about this stuff you're trying to give birth to.
So just know that there's going to be those tests of faith. There's going to be a test of faith, especially when you're in the mode of your emotions being precious and being more conservative with them. It's going to be a lot to put those emotions and those feelings towards yourself. You know what I mean? But you really have to believe that you have the ability to you know, uphold those responsibilities or uphold that image that you want to be at. So yeah, that is how Wednesday's looking at Thursday. How do you think the moon conjuncting Pluto in Capricorn is going to be hitting us?
So now we're gonna go through an emotion transformation where it comes to our emotions and feelings and where we're putting it in terms of our business and status. If we're putting it in the right place, we could take more power and control on how we look in reality and what we stand on. But if we can't, then Pluto and Capricorn is gonna force us to go through a harsher lesson or put us in a situation where the government have more control of the situation of us. So we gotta be careful here because the conjunctions are intense and could bring like extreme death, reality, and things along this line.
100%. My moon and Pluto are just naturally conjunct, so it definitely does lead to intense emotions,
Yeah,
obsession.
the moon's like the beginning, and then the Pluto's like the ending. And when you have the beginning and the ending always like together, it looks like a mind fuck.
It definitely is a mind fuck. It's funny, and you know it's funny. Just even looking at Pluto with the generational planet, and my moon being there, I find myself always emotionally reacting to our generation, like to our year, to the Pluto Sag. They get my blood boiling sometimes, yo, because I just feel so connected with that generation, and it may be because of that Pluto conjunction.
Wow.
It's always I be cussing our generation so much, but you may get into those states of beings, and you could get really intense with this Pluto and Capricorn. Remember, if we're being conservative with our feelings and emotions, especially in Pisces season, when we're dreaming, when we're in the subconscious realm, when we're in deep in water, and we're conserving our own individual water. Pluto in Capricorn, when everything has already been changing and we've been being plotted to take power and control over the statuses that we play within our life, it may cause us to make drastic decisions, to place a lot of emotions for the sake of security in the wrong thing. And you place all your eggs in one basket, and it is a structure or responsibility that isn't aligned with you, and it ends up being a weight. You end up being Atlas holding up the world when all you wanted was a farm, you know, a couple acres, you know, but you ended up holding up the weight of the world. So you don't want to get into those energies, but it does provide a great impetus for change to happen, for you to truly become and have the reputation that you want. But maybe not if this was the sun, say maybe your actions or how everybody responds to you may transform and you become the new reputation, the new status. But since it's the moon, I think you might get the emotional state of being that you need to be in to manifest this this damage. You're gonna feel the way that you're gonna need to feel to have if you're planting the right seeds and you handle this energy the right way, you would emotionally respond with the responsibilities that you're supposed to have, if you get what I mean. And at least emotionally, you're going to be responding to the right responsibilities. You don't feel responsible for all the other things. You feel responsible for the things that will actually build your empire.
You don't want to be responsible for other people. Like there's actually people who are responsible, like hedge funds and shit like that. They're responsible for billions, but sometimes when they lose their money, they commit suicide, or like when they get caught doing fraud or shit like that, they kill themselves because of they know how the impact of what they done So
The
it's like,
intensity.
don't be responsible for everything. Sometimes I measure jobs by how much responsibility they giving me. Because a lot of time, you gotta wage the money they give you and the responsibility. Some people prefer a high-paying job, but the responsibility is big, which is true, which is how you get paid. But also you gotta think about the price of the responsibility.
That's facts. And there's so much jobs where you get underpaid for having maximum responsibility.
Yeah,
So you definitely gotta check that. I'd rather a job where niggas don't really give a fuck that much. You know, I'm not in charge of much. I could be on my own. Niggas leave me alone and shit like that for sure. For sure, I definitely feel that. What about the square to Venus and Aries adding to this energy?
So there's a learning opportunity that is necessary for your emotions to go through to fixate itself on your business and status. But that depends on Venus and Aries. Where you put in your love matter, what you appreciate, what you like to indulge in, how you like to compromise and relate in the right passion and desire that could ignite you to reach your business and status. If you are not putting the energy of Venus in the right place, then you are not gonna have an moon in Capricorn conjuncting Pluto in Capricorn. You're gonna be in quiet trouble. Venus and your love is not gonna have something to present because it's very it's not able to sustain itself without the right direction.
Especially with all of this energy where we're talking about conservatism and we're talking about efficiency of energy, efficiency of our emotions, efficiency of our practical world. Venus and Aries coming in, it's talking about starting something new. It's talking about giving our energy into something. So you can definitely see the square where we're trying, and the intensity in starting something new. Venus and Aries can come and maybe even give us interest in a specific thing and maybe cascade the events that happen with the intensity of Pluto, provide a new relationship or a new asset or a new connection somehow that could deeply intensify or deeply challenge this conservative aspect. This could be the person coming up to you and saying, hey, I got this deal for you, or hey, I have this opportunity for you that may take away from the energy that you're conserving. So be careful for the new things that presenting themselves as if they have value. Really check your emotions and see if that aligns with the reputation that you want to have. If that value, if that relationship really aligns. Is that the type of asset that the person that I want to be in that position has? And if it's not, stay away from it. Stay away from it.
Mm-hmm.
What about the moon making a sextile with Neptune, the Sun, and Mercury, and on their conjunction in Pisces?
So if you have the right emotional stance on what you want to do to take control of your business and status, you're gonna be able to see an opportunity on what you've been paying attention to and what you've been thinking about in terms of your subconscious mind, your dreams and your illusion, and figure out what you could really use from there and how can you utilize all this faith and belief that you've been building and integrate it into this emotional stance that you're experiencing right now, as your feelings are conjuncting Pluto, the reality of your business and status, and so which allow you to take immediate action even if these things could be far-fetched. Capricorn, if it's possible, you could take action on it. That's the sextile basically. But if you were not becoming aware of certain dreams and illusion and building your faith system, then you're not gonna have something to go after. You're gonna be in the business world, and while everything is crashing, there's nothing for you to chase after. Yeah, there's nothing for you to see above everything. But like Neptune, Mercury, Sun, and Pisces could be like you, the investor who sees the vision or dream that no one else seen in the office, and you invested in it earlier before everybody.
For sure, and that takes imagination. That takes being able to project things into the future, or to be able to focus on the ideals and know how we want things to happen. A lot of times You know, we don't think ahead, or we don't think fully on things. We just, want certain things, but don't take into account that they can shapeshift or come to us in multiple different shapes and forms, if you get what I mean. But this whole Pisces season and all this Pisces energy is trying to tune us into the base forms, the energetic forms, the symbolism of certain objects. So once we understand that energy, and the moon in Capricorn comes, ready to use emotional energy to utilize towards practicality. Now, if the imaginations that we had have been grounded into reality, using the basis of what we went through in our life as the foundation for our imagination, your moon is going to have so much tools to utilize to be able to manifest an ideal situation, because you thought of it, because you imagined. Look at the people who actually know what they want. They sat down and imagined it. Look at kids and children. As a kid, I used to daydream all the time. Used to have like one foot in reality, really. And if you asked me what I wanted, I would be able to tell you in half of a second. And a half of a second, I would be able to do that. But kids stay into the ideal realm, that realm of ideals, and that's what leads them to do that. And if you look at a kid, you calling them kids and all of that, a kid has the most efficient emotional system. A kid is not going to give no emotion to some shit that doesn't provide value to them. So there's a lot to learn from those states of beings. But yeah, that's how Thursday's looking. Looking at Friday, we have the moon in Aquarius squaring Venus in Taurus. Venus being in Taurus now. How do you think this is going to end?
So right now, our love matter, what we appreciate, what we like to indulge in, compromise and relate, it's all going to be in Taurus. It's no longer going to be dealing with passions, desires, and things like that. It's going to be much more grounded and practical, based on safety and security, which what Venus is like. So Venus in Taurus right now, you're going to ground whatever you were focused on giving birth to when Venus was in Aries. So hopefully you're passionate and aggressive about the right thing, so you can ground them right now, especially with the square with the moon in Aquarius, which is forcing you to be in the emotional energy of going there and being fixated to communicate with your association and the people you want to be progressive in about what you're obviously been building with what you're gonna build with Venus in Taurus right now, and things along this line. And if you know that the moon in Aquarius is gonna square Uranus in Taurus, so right now you better emotionally react to your associate and communicate about this unique value that you've been building, and Venus in Taurus should be directed towards that also, so that square is mitigated and controlled.
Yeah, I get what you mean, because Venus in Taurus is probably looking at for max stability in terms of nurturing, but the moon and providing a level of stability, providing the resources for our relationships to thrive, providing the resources for our assets, for our feelings and emotions to thrive. But the moon in Aquarius is giving us progressive ideas of what we can do with our emotions moving forward. So Venus may be like moving forward. Wait, hold on. I need slower movement. But
That could play as like biology, as you having your emotionally in a stage of like thinking about higher thoughts, and that stress out Venus and Taurus because you're trying to get comfortable, you're trying to get grounded, but your emotions tend to disassociate from the moon Aquarius, could make you disassociate from reality to the point that you may not make sense, which would be quite obviously this beneficial for Venus and Taurus, what you're paying attention to, because it obviously is necessary for it to be grounded.
yeah, for sure. That being said, the moon might peep you. If you're a little bit too disconnected when we get to this point in terms of your emotions, and maybe looking forward a little bit too dryly, a little bit too logically, looking at your feelings and emotions a little bit too logically, you may feel that that hormonal imbalance. You may feel like processes aren't going, or that lack of feeling of stability, and maybe that's due to that square of Taurus, where you're maybe looking at too logical and not in your body enough to actually feel the reality of what these thoughts and feelings and emotions are leading to. So this square may be a good thing, letting you know what thoughts is coming in the way of you being physically comfortable, you being physically stable. What about the moon sextiling Chiron and Jupiter in Aries?
So right now, this again, while you're emotionally focused on associating, communicating about being progressive, you're seeing opportunity on how to integrate what you're expanding and has extract knowledge and wisdom in, and what you're also wounded in. Your this vision and imagination you wanna give birth to, and you're passionate about. The moon in Aquarius might bring the right information, the right people, the right network to help you make to keep that flame going, to keep that flame ignited. But also Chiron and Jupiter in Aries could provide the moon in Aquarius a message, like a story, something to build, so things do not be so dry, so logical, so progressive, so political, but it could be based upon something that we all passionate about, and something that has a meaning and a reasoning too, since the moon is going to be based on logic and what makes sense and things like that.
For sure. I can see this even being, like your self improvement or your solo journey. You're seeing an opportunity of your expansion of self and you healing your own wounds according to ideology may really help you connect with social groups in a larger stage. You bettering yourself, you giving more faith to yourself somehow gives you more value within your social group, gives you more sway and more ability to connect amongst your social group, and people looking at you as the plug or a source of inspiration. And because they look at you like that, it gives you the courage to give more faith to yourself, because you see that you're being supported, or that ideas and conversations and relationship help give you the air to facilitate that fire. So you may find that work that you've been doing on yourself actually ends up affecting and helping out people in a distant way, in a way that you didn't really even expect, in ways that you don't even intend to. You end up helping the people around you. What about Venus and Taurus sextiling Saturn and Pisces?
So right now, what you're trying, obviously, your love matters is in building, is in securitizing yourself and find a value that makes sense for you. And the sextile with Saturn and Pisces allow you to see opportunity on how can you create enough restrictions and boundaries and responsibility on what you're having dreams and illusion about, and actually bring it into reality. Venus and Taurus, this is you putting your time and your love into building this physical cup, so you could hold on to or bring into this sense of groundedness that you could achieve in your dreams and illusion. If you can't, then it's going to be very hard for you to control what's going on with Saturn and Pisces.
For sure. I think Venus and Taurus, that sextile, is going to help bring the reality, where Saturn and Pisces may be struggling because it's constricting and drying out the ideal. It's putting all of this effort into that you have to put into achieving your ideal. But Venus and Taurus is like, all right, that's fun. Saturn and Pisces telling you, oh, you have to go and get this. It's giving you a list for your dreams to manifest. But Venus and Taurus is like, well, that's all we need, or that's the list. Let's start gathering those things, so that we can have all of the assets that we need to start making this dream for real. So it's giving you that drive for stability. It's giving you that drive to collect the things that you need to make the things possible. So I definitely do see an opportunity. You may find your way into new tools, new skills, new relationships that ultimately is going to help you put in that effort into making your dreams a reality. So yeah, that's how Friday's looking. Looking at Saturday, we have the moon in late Aquarius now, trining Mars and Gemini. How do you think this is going to hit?
So as you're emotionally focused on your associate and being progressive with the higher ideas that could push society, there's Mars in Gemini, what you're passionate, aggressive about when it comes to broad ideas, analyzation. Right now, you could bring these information, these ways of communicating that you've been developing into the moon in Aquarius, and broader that understanding when it comes to your associate, and learn how to expand and bring new information, but also stabilize Mars in Gemini, so you don't just be passionate aggressive about the wrong information, but you're uh, passionate aggressive about information that your emotion is in the right place when it comes to your associate, like a higher ideal that could inspire Mars in Gemini.
And this is someone who can really break down and analyze. There's a lot of people who identify with certain things, but don't understand the multifaceted perspectives that can be had. But the Mars in Gemini pairing with the Moon in Aquarius, you can emotionally attach to, say, a group of people, or to a social cause, or to a body of information. A Mars in Gemini will give you the energy, like Eric was saying, to really decompose that information and not just identify with it, but know that information in and out. So there may be a real opportunity for you to dive deep into information, maybe even because it's the Moon in Aquarius, and that card, the tarot card for Moon in Aquarius, is that thief in the night, which makes sense because Moon being the nighttime, the more subtler energy, and Aquarius is that debate energy, where it's looking for information, and it has that others, that combative thing. So there may be an opportunity for you to get some secret information, or for you to leak some secret information with all that air energy. So you might be talking a little bit too much, but if you understand the polarity of conversation, you may be able to extract a lot more information on Saturday about things than you previously would have before. So there's an opportunity for you to come out with some knowledge, some information, just by being inquisitive, just by being curious, just by having the open ear, just by having the passion for information and collecting information. You stumble onto something that directly correlates with where your emotions are right now, and now you can get cooking. So there's information to be had on Saturday. Keep your ears open. What about that square to Uranus and Taurus that the Moon is making?
So this is good because this is obviously gonna ground all this information and ideas that we gonna emotionally be in, but also taking action on. But it's gonna be focused around what we want to be unique and original, and in terms of what makes us feel safe and secure. So if you've been building this unique, original thing that you want to do with Uranus in Taurus, then you could go, when the Moon goes into Aquarius, you could communicate about it and develop thoughts and ideas and more mentalities around it, so I could actually move faster, or could actually make more sense.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, for sure. Just keying you in on the changes that can be made in the physical reality, and tuning our emotions into the changes in physical reality. So when we're looking forward and coming up with new ideas, we have to be looking at the state of what value is now, which is all over the place, which is it's itching for uniqueness. So this is what we should be looking for, not the tried and true. This is going to be a new idea that leads to our stability. Mercury in Pisces, sextiling Pluto in Capricorn.
So Pluto in Capricorn, as we're obviously taking more control of our business status. Hopefully, we've been thinking, communicating, analyzing about some good dreams and illusions, or some faith systems, or meaning and reasoning we could utilize and see an opportunity on. But if we're not, then we're not gonna be able to take advantage of that sextile. If anything, when Pluto in Capricorn comes here, you're gonna be able to see nothing, and this might make you feel depressed, sad, or lack the opportunity of finding your own way.
I get what you mean.
But this is, but Pluto here is literally transforming your way of thinking. Because if you're thinking La La Land, you're gonna be punished. But if you're not, then Pluto in Capricorn, it gives you like the sense of responsibility to go after this belief system. If you think it's solidified, if it make even sense.
Exactly. I don't know if you guys would have remembered that example that I used, but Mercury in Pisces is like, say you're on the water, but if you try and force speaking, You know, this air is not going to get passed through there. You have to start speaking symbolically. You have to start understanding, okay, words right now aren't working. What are other ways I can communicate? And naturally, the universal ways to communicate it are symbolic. If I draw a sun and go anywhere in the world, they will know I'm talking about the sun. You know what I mean? If I draw a penis, anywhere in the world, so there's some universal symbolisms that are there, and that's what we have to tap into if we want to take advantage of this opportunity that Pluto and Capricorn is presenting us for us to really transform our minds, to truly integrate that knowledge and how to communicate in a symbolic way, and how that can fit with our new position that we're trying to play within the world. So we're not speaking on deaf ears anymore. We know the language of symbolism, so we can get past the words and still assimilate the knowledge and wisdom. That's what this opportunity, this transformation is presenting us on Saturday. What about Sunday? So that's Saturday. I'm looking at Sunday. We have the moon conjuncting Saturn in Pisces, making a sextile. So this is the moon conjuncting Saturn in Pisces, making a sextile to North and Node and Venus in Taurus. How do you think this alignment is going to be hitting us?
So right now we're gonna be emotionally focused on our dreams and illusion and our broad experiences, but all these dreams and illusions, they're gonna be based upon what we're emotionally been building when it comes to our associations, our network. So now if we're build the right association, we could emotionally focus on having a dreams and illusion. But the conjunction with Saturn is reminding us of the harshness of that we need to take responsibility and see the reality of what we want to manifest in terms of our dreams and illusions, so we don't go to la la land too far here. So, or if we're not building our association, then when it goes into Pisces, we're gonna be lost in la la land, and Saturn and Pisces and constrict us, and it's gonna block us from going to certain emotional places, since we're not realizing that we need to stand on something to build our reality. And having the sextile is allowing to see the opportunity to utilize all this emotional energy of seeing the reality of what you're having a dreams and illusion about, and actually try to integrate it into your spiritual path, and where you're putting your love, what you appreciate, how you relate, and where you try to compromise in terms of what makes you safe and secure. So this is gonna allow you to make what you safe and secure, take your dreams and make it like safety and secure, basically.
It's funny because Venus joining up with the North Node makes sense, because Venus and Taurus, this is when Venus and Aries is very selfish, and it's thinking about itself, but it's trying to be a self-starter. Venus is not a self-starter. Just inherently, she works best when she is receiving, but when it's in Taurus, she kind of accepts the role of more independence, and she works. And Venus and Taurus, she works. And Venus and Aries, she's trying to get things from other people, and through that struggle she realizes that she really needs herself, and that she's the real talent, or utilizing whatever relationship she did start, or whatever opportunity she did start, she starts to develop on herself, because she doesn't want to be in that state of being anymore. She wants that stability. So it leads to Venus being a heavy producer, producing energy. So combining with the North Node, we can really start valuing the work, because we knowing it's going to lead to us having stability, and valuing our dreams, valuing what's uncomfortable, because we know it's ultimately what's going to lead to our stability. You may come to start valuing your senses. I think about that sometimes. Say if I eat something bad, my stomach will be killing me, whatever. But I would think in my mind, I'm like, yo, this is God talking to me. At least God didn't turn his back on me right now. There's niggas out there who's eating all different types of trash, and God don't speak to them. They don't know that they're doing damage to their body, because it led to such a heavy silence. So when your five senses respond to you in that way, it may be uncomfortable because the North Node is here, but know that that's God's voice, that God is telling you through your senses. If you smell that bad smell all the time, let's say your room smells, or now you're starting to notice that your room smells, God's telling you that you need to stop being a stank ass nigga, or you start noticing, certain things taste bad, or whatever. You might get a heightened sense of sensual experience, and it may really put you on to your destiny and what really has value. And then if our moon energy is aligned with Saturn in Pisces, there's so much effort energy. I'm just trying to draw the comparison to the amount of effort where we can really work towards our dreams, where we can accept discomfort, when we can accept contraction, and utilize that energy to manifest abundance, to accept that shit for now so that we can have more later. But it can also turn into negative belief systems where, like what Harith was saying, without a clean subconscious, if by now we don't have an understanding of our subconscious minds to a degree where you don't have to have full control over your subconscious mind, and that's not really going to happen, since your subconscious mind records everything, so it's like it's impossible to keep up with that stuff. But to have a general way of navigating that realm of reality, Saturn's going to give you structure, not restrictions. But you may find restrictions, which may lead to limiting beliefs. So with this type of effort, if you start putting effort into this, you could be building a whole structure that's blocking you off from the real reality. This is a wall. This is the wall, Trump's wall to Mexico. This is the wall of China that you can start building that blocks you off from the rest of you by these false belief systems. So really peep your esoteric GPS on Sunday and really listen to your feelings and emotions. Really listen to them. They're going to be highly sensitive. So don't run from the authority, or don't accept the structure because it's scaring you due to power control. Accept structures because it's presenting you the structure, the roadmap to your dreams. Don't do it out of fear. And this is the last day of Pisces season, with the Sun sextiling Pluto and Capricorn. How do you think this is going to hit us?
So hopefully right now you've been paying attention to the right dreams and illusion, and building faith and meaning and reasoning into what you want to do before the Sun transit into Aries, where you gotta take action on it. Right now you call this stage the dreaming stage, but Pluto and Capricorn wants to basically take power control of that dream and illusion that you've been paying attention to, and see if it makes sense or not, and you see you could actually manifest it. But if it's not possible, then Pluto and Capricorn is not gonna be able to see the opportunity on how you could utilize it and leave you hanging there.
100%. If you're not making the transformations that is necessary for you to accept the responsibility and the status of position that your dreams are putting up, this energy, and taking that opportunity, you may be inclined to take the hand of somebody else's imagination, which could end up playing out as a delusion to you. And this being the transformation that takes power and control over your life. So now you're taken power and control over through a delusion. And this is how people, based off of a responsibility that you have. Based off of a responsibility that you have, you feel that you have to give in to certain illusions and stuff like that. My phone died. It's even plugged in. I'm sorry, man. And that's even the last one.
So we're by ended, basically.
Yeah, basically.
It's funny too. It's on Sunday.
Yeah, we can end it there. Yeah, that would be fine. A little abrupt.